that the services of Jason Tatum may not be available. He is doubtful.
Yes, which came out after practice yesterday, and I was a little surprised by. Because even at practice, Joe Mazzulla told us he's day-to-day, but they said that the x-ray came back clean, and then he goes for an MRI. So I would guess just from that, it seems like he's got to have some pain or at least soreness.
Are you surprised that he's not playing?
Well, he's doubtful, so he's not out yet. I guess I would look at it as, would this be, and this is just my opinion, would this be the case if they were expected to only go 2 rounds? Like, I think it's more looking at the situation, and I do think that there's an upside with this kind of injury that day to day. Like, I do think they're judging it by how I would guess, like how he feels when he wakes up in the morning, how he feels shooting. They're not holding a public shoot around this morning, but how he feels like as it goes on. I wouldn't expect it to be something that lasts for several weeks. But they don't want to push it because it is a marathon that they're in to get back to the finals.
Did game 1 help by him not playing well and they were still able to get up 20 and win, control that game where they say, you know what, JT, we don't really need you to play?
I think they always need him. I think you always want your superstar, your best player to be out there. So I get what you're saying. I think it's more the benefit of having these guys who went through it together last year, and they know all the different looks that they can go to.
And don't you think Tatum would fight back if they were like, hey, we don't really need you? He would want to be out there. I think it's a bad look for him right now. And this isn't anything, it's not a knock against Tatum. But I think people are now coming out saying he's milking it because he caused such a scene on the court. So
who's saying that?
I said it.
Greg said
it.
That guy there.
You think he was milking it on the court?
Yes, I do. I think he was milking it on the court. I do, yes. You don't.
I don't.
Why did his coach then yell at him to get up?
So, I don't know, because I'm not inside Joe Mazzulla's brain.
His coach may have felt he was milking it.
So, I side more with what I heard Wiggy saying earlier, which is this feeling of, being the mindset and the mentality that Mazzulla is frankly obsessed with, and being the idea of like motivating yourself, like get up, you're good. Kind of that thing of when you're running a marathon and you're thinking to yourself, I'm not tired, like I'm not hurting, I'm good, I can keep going.
Right. He's kind of like you ever see the movie Tropic Thunder? He's like, don't worry, you'll be all right. You can get up. And the guy's like, I got no legs.
he's got like no arms.
Do you think he regrets saying it?
I have no idea. I couldn't.
But it's a bad, in my opinion, it's a bad look. Because it's your star player. He's on the court. He's clearly in pain. And you're standing there yelling, get up, and all the cameras are getting you. I think if I'm Joe Mazzulla, I regret doing that because of what it looks like now.
What? You regret trying to hold a player accountable? Like,
holding him accountable? What are we talking about? He was on the floor.
Courtney, you realize his wrist isn't broken. Like, it didn't come off.
Okay. But
do you understand that?
Yeah. I've had pain. That doesn't mean I'm missing a limb. Like, you could still be in. You fell over a puppy gate.
Could he have walked with it?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Could he walk with the wrist?
Yes.
Yeah, so he could have got up.
But, I mean this, Greg, I love you, but can you give me another example of a head coach yelling at a star player writhing in pain on the floor and telling the player to get up?
No, I really can't, which makes me question what's going on with Jason Tatum and why he felt like he needed to do that.
And I think without a doubt Mazzulla would take that back because it's invited all of these questions that do nothing but create further distraction for the team. It's like...
I mean, I'm just used to guys like Kevin McHale who got it shot up and played on one leg because he wanted to win.
Well, let's look at the context of what was happening around that, because I do think it's important to look at where, if you're watching the playoffs this season, the refs are swallowing the whistle. The entire season, there's been this concentrated effort to elevate the defensive play in the NBA because they know just having three-pointers and just having guys not feel like they can play defense and have it not be a physical game is not good for the product.
Okay.
On top of that, if you watch that, and he doubled down on it at practice yesterday, Al Horford is telling you that KCP had done this 3 times at this point. And Al is not the kind of guy who flies off the handle.
Yeah, right.
And so I think that there is context around it, even when you look back to what we talked about with Jason Tatum, and it was... Well, who were they playing against a couple weeks ago where somebody was in his landing space and he had the ankle injury and he hadn't gotten that flagrant call on the defender and his landing space earlier in the season.
So
like,
he's not getting the call. And so
well, he
that's
got
why
the call that time, but I think if you look at Al Horford, he's saying, like, bro, I know you want a physical game, but one, it's playing to Orlando's strength because they're going to try to muck it up. Like, they're a good defensive team, but they're also trying to muck it up against a team that's more talented than them.
So that's
and on the
why
other side, KCP is doing something that could injure and has now injured their star player.
Right, so that's why you're saying that's why he's lying there writhing on the floor, and that's called embellishment.
Well, I don't know.
So-
Maybe he's in a lot of pain. He's stamping his feet, and he's like looking up at God, like, what is it going to take?
Greg wants you as soon as you get hurt, he wants you to bounce right up.
I do. Yeah,
Bounce
I want you to dust yourself off and get up.
And he doesn't know if it's broken at that point. He's laying there. If he's in that much pain, he's like, what the F just happened?
He didn't know if it was broken?
Yeah, he doesn't
I'm
know.
not
This doesn't make sense to me. You loved Mac Jones, and he got carried off the field crying.
I am on record. That was a mistake. The whole Mac Jones thing was an absolute awful mistake. This is Charlie from Boston. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for, or guys and girls. Well, thanks for taking the call. So my opinion on this is based on like Mazzulla's answer, like why'd you do it? And he said out of love. I think he's just holding Tatum to a higher standard that like. Because when you see the superstars around the league, right, you look at SGA and LaFlop, like those guys flop all the time. They throw on these massive shows. So it's like when he's yelling, get up, I look at it more of like, you know, I understand what you're doing. You're milking a little bit, but like, you're better than this. Like, you know, don't stoop down to this level. Like you can beat guys, you know, you can beat teams the right way. So just holding him to a higher standard there.
Maybe. I don't know.
And you know why some guys stay on the ground a little bit longer? Take it from somebody who knows what it's like to get hurt, and you kind of get in this mindset, is it worse than it is? And you're waiting for the doctor or the trainer to basically be like, oh, it's okay. We don't feel any type of structural damage, you know, when they do the little knee test. So a lot of times guys will sit on the ground because they are in pain, and the first thing that they're thinking about, it's the worst thing possible. And they wait. And they're like, oh, my God, it's still painful. It's still pain. Then the doctors run out. They do all their tests. It's not as bad as
it's like
you
an
think.
Emotional response.
Yeah, and that's why.
For the record, he went back in the game.
Yeah.
He went back and continued playing. It's not like he went back to the locker room and was sitting there. He waited until after the game to get the X-ray.
Okay, but why?
And then he did media.
And so why is he doubtful for this evening then?
Like I said, I would guess because it's a day-to-day injury. I'm not
adrenaline
in touch
wears off
with the medical professionals. They're looking at this going, our intention is to play into June, mid-June. And so we right now, like, we need to take you day to day and make sure that you're getting better and you don't aggravate this. It's his shooting hand. It's it's the most valuable part of his entire body.
Also, reminder, when I said this earlier, like a week ago, we had Wiggy and others saying Jaylen Brown, if he's not 100% good to go, sit him for Orlando. Why do we need him? So now to say Jason Tatum, who just got injured in game one, should get back out there no matter what, doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. What game one? Anything surprise you in that? Are you surprised that they were down at the half, or you don't care this team? You don't care about? You not worried? Anything surprise you? Game one?
I guess what surprised me a little bit, and it shouldn't at this point, was Jrue Holiday. Like, that dude is just still the best defender, at least perimeter defender in the whole league. Like, he was awesome. Him matching up against Banchero, as much as you can put him on Paolo Banchero as possible, he's a cheat code for you. And I was talking to Derek White after the game in the press conference. I asked him, because there was a great play where Jrue Holiday's on Banchero on the perimeter, and Derek comes in and he basically picks it off and takes it to the other side, gets fouled, goes to the line, makes 2 free throws. And I'm like, Derek, what makes you want to be aggressive in that moment? Like, you know, you can read it and go. And he's basically like, it's just Jrue Holiday. Like, when Jrue Holiday is the defender, and that's so Derek White to give the credit completely to somebody else. But at the same time, I think everybody on that team feels that way about Jrue when he has the matchup, and it opens it up for them to cause as many turnovers as they caused in that game. And it's just such a luxury for a team that's as deep as they are.
And that's the thing about their defense. They can, even you talk about Paolo, and he's a great player, but everybody on the court can match up against them. Not necessarily stop them in and out every single possession, but Tatum could cover him. Brown can cover him. Horford can cover him. Derek White can cover him. You obviously talked about Jrue Holiday and Porzingis at times where, because Porzingis has enough length, they have those 6 guys that they can throw at him and cover him, which will make it tough for one player because he's really him. And I know Wagner is the other player, but
Wagner.
I call it.
You call him Wags?
Oh, he's been calling him Wagner the whole entire time.
Wagneri.
Wagner.
Wagner.
That's how that is pronounced.
Where's he from?
Germany, I would assume.
Yeah.
I'm
Here in America, we say Wagner, brother.
Well, Greg, you're welcome.
Franz Wagner.
Okay, Viggy.
I bet if I was in Germany, that's what they'd call me.
Yeah.
Right.
I kind of like it.
And I'd have to be, they'd be like, "Oh, you're in Germany, Viggy."
So you want to change the uniform here and just have it be a V, is what you want. You want the
let it be. Yeah, let it be how they would do it. Or put those little dots on the top of the W, the umlaut, like Doncic got on his jersey.
An umlaut.
Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I think so.
Yes.
What are those accents?
I mean, it's unlikely. He had an unbelievable game, Banchero. It's unlikely that he's going to throw up 30 or 35.
Even if he does, and Tatum's not out there, you won by 17.
Yeah.
This is why I said at the beginning of it, I think it's going to be a 4-game series.
Mm-hmm.
Even if Tatum's not out there tonight, I still feel that way. It's just a mismatch for Orlando. And I think watch the Pistons-Knicks series as well, because that one's really good. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they match up with one of those teams.
Okay. Did you watch the latest episode of Celtics City? Yeah.
I did. It was nice because what I think is cool about what Celtic City has shown you is that everybody has their championship era. Like, everybody has their group of guys who won a championship. And that one felt like mine. Like, that exact crew. I just was going back and I was thinking about, like, watching that entire season and even some of the teams after it that you would think underachieved because they didn't get the second ring. Like, they had Bill Russell talking to KG about, which was such a awesome. I know that's aired before, but I hadn't seen it in a long time.
No, the Paul Pierce stuff, like going deep with Paul Pierce on being stabbed and how the leather jacket saved his life essentially. And then, in light of today's discussion about Jason Tatum, Paul Pierce saying that he grew up in a time where mental health was not a big thing. And that's why he was, he got himself out of that hospital in a day or two and back, shooting hoops.
Well, who brought over the wheelchair?
Yes.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
I love him being like, hey, man, I don't know who brought over the wheelchair.
Is he still claiming he had the bubble guts?
No.
He didn't mention that.
No.
He didn't mention that in this episode.
Well, we talked about being addicted to NyQuil because he couldn't sleep.
Yeah, it was
after
horrible.
He was stabbed, and it was worried about whether he was going to be a target in the city. And
gotta leave those girls alone, man.
I thought that was so interesting. I didn't realize that he and Doc didn't get along early on.
Yeah, I wasn't here at that time, but I remember hearing that it was a little rocky at the beginning, and then of course you put the big three together, and it just works almost automatically.
Yeah,
being in that building for Game 1 of the Finals when he left in a wheelchair was like, I remember you could hear a pin drop. It was like, we finally got back to the finals. We finally have a shot at Banner 17. And in the first, a guy who had been through everything as a Celtic is now going to miss the rest of the series. And then seeing him back, people were like, because that was before Twitter. That was before, so
that was his Willis Reed moment.
It was wild. Absolutely wild.
All right. Celts in 5. Are you now? You
4.
A sweep. Okay.
I'm sticking to 4.
All right.
I think it is a true sweep.
Okay. True sweep. Mego, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Great to see you.